The people, the headlines, the issues impacting you. All on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
And welcome back to This Week in Cincinnati. I'm Craig McKee. This morning we're speaking with NKU President Ashish Vaidya. Thank you so much again for joining us. Continuing on our conversation that we were talking about in the 45% percentile freshmen that make it through. What is the biggest hurdle that you are finding that, you know, freshmen become sophomores, getting ready to start their junior year, and next thing you know, something stops them? What is stopping them from going through?
Right. Well, so I think the way we are evaluating it is by really examining every aspect of the things. What happens in their maybe first few days on campus? Mm-hmm. What happens in their first semester, their first year? How do they persist to their second year? How do they help build momentum going into their second, third, and fourth and final years if you need be? And there are multiple roadblocks that come along the way, mm-hmm. barriers that somehow we need to really address in a holistic way. Some of these have to do with a sense of belonging. Craig, I think so many of our students who are first in their families to go to college, they come in with not knowing, is this the right place for me? Right. Do I belong? The kinds of challenges I'm facing, is this what everybody's facing, or is it just me? And I think we have to make sure that the environment is suitable for them to feel, yep, you belong, you're going to succeed, we're going to give you the support. Mm-hmm. There's financial challenges. Many of our students have to balance work. Believe it or not, food insecurity is a big issue as well, which I think we're doing.
Well, NKU has the food pantry, and we've highlighted that a number of times.
It's a wonderful opportunity, and really we're addressing those kinds of things, making sure they get the right advice, even navigating the curriculum. We want to make sure that everything is in place. So there are multiple venues in which we have to have touch points, a sense of service orientation, so our students know we have faculty and staff committed to help them succeed. If
we can talk about switching gears to sports, you'd actually said in an article that during an interview when you first started, and in referencing sports, you said, I've challenged folks to think, and this was referencing back at St. Cloud, I've challenged folks to think about sports in a slightly different way. It's clearly an important aspect of the student experience, student pride, alumni pride, but in this very tricky global environment that we live in, sports can play a very remarkable role in peace building as well. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, you know, I am a big sports fan, and I've grown up, as many of us have watched the Olympics, we've watched the World Cup, sure. We watch all these spectacles, and I think what strikes me when you see all those glorious events is how people come together, right? You forget about your other issues that divide you or differences, right. And you're all bound by the passion of sports, and whether you're rooting for your country or your team or whatever the case is, it's a cultural experience that we all share. So I think it's a way to understand humanity in a much more meaningful way, and sports does that. I've seen it on our own campus when the NKU Norths are playing. Everybody's out there. They've forgotten their issues, and they're all solidly behind the team. And
obviously, very excited that the tournament as well. I mean,
absolutely.
That's a kind of a nice little pat on the back for everyone on campus as well.
Yeah, very much so. Very exciting with the way. But so I think it's a way that we can build community in a very different way as well.
If we can briefly talk about the Cameron Whitaker, though, the women's basketball team, the women's basketball coach, where does that stand right now? And I know you've made some previous comments about the investigation and university policy into this. What is your reaction right now to where things stand?
Sure. Well, you know, first and foremost, I think when the students' voices are expressing concern, both current and former students, we take that very seriously. This is something that has never been an issue for us. We always want to make sure that it takes courage to bring things forward. We're going to examine those. We're going to look at those things as well. Given that there were some new concerns expressed more recently, we said, you know what, it's time to do an independent assessment and a review, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that we've left no stone unturned, do a thorough analysis about what happened, maybe both to some students now, maybe previous students or whatever, to examine what are some of the opportunities that we need to be looking at. And so that's underway, and I hope to be able to get a report very soon about what the outcome of that
and just to let you know, there was an open letter from several basketball players that we have on WCPO.com in support of Coach Whitaker as well, if you'd like to take a look at that. With Mick Cronin leaving UC for UCLA, there's always a lot of moving parts when it comes to coaches sometimes. There's speculation out there that UC may try to get NKU's basketball coach, John Brandon. Any thoughts? Or can you tell us anything? Break any news?
Well, you know, maybe I should challenge the president of the University of Cincinnati to an arm wrestling duel and see how that works. You know, John Brandon is a tremendous talent and a wonderful human being. I've really enjoyed getting to know him this past year. I've seen what he has done on the court. I've seen how he interacts with the students, the energy that we have around our basketball program. And so, you know, I think we should be fortunate that we have someone like that leading our program in this transition to Division I. I hope we can keep him as long as we can, right. And to align our expectations to what he wants to do next, which is to make NKU a strong mid-major program. And so we just hope that there'll be plenty of opportunities, I know, and but we just want to know, just John knows this, but to know that he is highly valued, and we're really grateful for what he's been doing for the program.
If you decide to have an arm wrestling competition, I'm sure we'd cover it, that's for sure. We're going to wrap up our conversation right after the break.
The people, the headlines, the issues impacting you, all on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.